What's going on, YouTube? It's Everything Broke Down, and it's your boy Clay. We're here today to break down and give our theories about Fray, the second episode of season 4 of From. The dialogue in this episode was great, and I connected with it in a way I never thought I would. So let's talk about it. When the show starts, we see Sophia once again fake crying outside after Kenny told her that she couldn't go out at night. Sophia lets Kenny know that her dad has passed. I have my opinions about Sophia, but make sure y'all stay tuned for the rest of the video because we definitely go dive more into her personality. But on another note, we see Boyd and Elgin talking. Boyd says to Elgin once people find out what he did or what they did, people will start tearing themselves apart. And my theory on that is with everything going on, people won't know who to trust or who to feel safe with. Even with Boyd being the leader, when people find out what he has done to Elgin, people will be very cautious of Boyd. Boyd wants Elgin to lie and say that he injured himself finding Fatima. And Smelgin grows upset and says, "What if I don't?" This is when we see a different side of Boyd. He tells Elgin, "If you don't do this, I will tell everyone that you unalive Tilly, and I'll put you in a box." Elgin then says, "The truth always comes out." Big Bad Boy says, "If I was you, I would make sure it doesn't." And this only strengthens my Boyd is the man in yellow theory, once again, keeping information away from people while also this time making up lies. And what I mean is Boyd is the man in yellow. I mean, he is the archetype to the man in yellow, sort of like what Miranda is to Tabitha and what Christopher is to Jade. When we see Acosta, she's in a diner as the Beatles' Good Morning comes on the jukebox, and the lyrics are pretty telling with the show. Like nothing has changed, it feels the same. That's basically what Frumland is. Nothing will change in this horrific town. The cycle just keeps getting worse and worse. And in that sense, I guess things does change, but I thought it was a very interesting song to choose. And now we finally see the blood bag that we saw from the trailers. At first glance, I thought the bag was too small to be Jim, which came to be one of the animals from the barn. Tabitha sends Julie and Ethan to the barn so they wouldn't see what was in the bag, and this is where shit gets dark. The bag was only put there to distract Tabitha and Boyd because they knew Jim didn't return. While Ethan and Julie make their way to the barn, Ethan wants Julie to promise that they'll find Jim. Once they get to the barn, they actually do, hanging upside down, just like how he was hanging in season 1 in Tabitha's dream. In season 1, before she finds Jim hanging upside down, she tells Ethan to pick up the toys. And in my opinion, I think that was foreshadowing that Ethan and Julie would be the ones to unfortunately find Jim in this devastating way. Once the camera flips, we see knowledge comes at a cost, something they've been very adamant about before the season 4 opener. And Tabitha loses it. I mean, what wife wouldn't? After all the arguments and fighting that her and Jim has done, of course, she would feel guilt. When we see Sophia and Kenny, they're talking about Boyd and how he was the one to pull her out. And basically, he's the one that keeps this place together. Kenny invites Sophia to get a new pair of glasses from the storage room. Now, in my opinion, this is just all a part of the man in yellow's game. He wants to pick at people. He wants to make fun. Because in my opinion, what shape-shifting monster needs glasses? In the next scene, Ethan is venting and letting it out, which in my opinion, I couldn't agree with him more. We think children don't hear those arguments, but unfortunately they do. And Ethan hates his mom because he feels like Tabitha didn't like Jim because of all the arguing. This place is changing Ethan as well. In season 1, he stated that he liked being in Frumland because they spent more time together. But when we fast forward to now, he hates it there. And I mean, who wouldn't after your dad is unalive? Boyd, Jade, and Ellis put Jim in the wheelbarrow just like Tian Chen, reminding everyone what happened in season 3. Then Jade tells Boyd that they should have a conversation and he needs to tell him something. In this scene, we see what it seems like Boyd's tremors are back, but that's a way different video for a whole nother day. Sarah tells Kenny that they found Jim and unfortunately he didn't make it. Sarah offers to take Sophia to the storage room to find glasses. And once again, I have to ask myself, what shape-shifting monster needs glasses? And I also think this was a great play by the man in yellow to catch Sarah on a one-on-one basis. Jade is now explaining to Boyd about the children and what he is seeing. Jay goes to say that him and Tabitha are the reason that Jim was unalive. Unlocked memories that should have stayed locked away. Boyd tells Jade about Nathan's theory on how if you push, the entity or the being surrounding this place will push back. And Boyd asks the question that I've been wondering too. How do you save kids that's already passed? Jade doesn't know, but he says he's working on it. Boyd tells Jade to work harder, and I think this is where Jade will lock in like he's never done before. When Sarah and Sophia arrive at the diner, they see Acosta. And Acosta basically tells Sarah that we're not friends, so don't talk to me. And I think Acosta is at her breaking point. She's had enough of this place. Police training couldn't have trained her enough to prepare for Farmland. Tabitha blames Jade, but Jade knows the memories are real. I thought that Tabitha was doing too much being so harsh to Jade, but Jade tells her to think about her kids, but she asked him, "What do you know?" Dan says he doesn't give a shit about anyone else, and it should have been him to be found in the barn. It's almost as like Tabitha uses her words as punches, arguing with Jem all the time, arguing with Jade now. Almost seems as though she's fighting within herself. Once we see Acosta, she's just like, fuck it. I'm gonna take the ambulance and get the hell out of Dodge. But Christy hops in with her. Acosta is going through it mentally. She doesn't know what to believe. And who can blame her? Police Academy did not train her for these situations. Mariel goes to tell Boyd, and they go to try to stop Acosta from driving recklessly into town. When we see Sophia and Sarah, they're in the storage room, and her and Sarah are talking, and Sophia says something very interesting. Like she thinks it's sort of nice that people's belongings are still there. It's almost like a part of them is stuck in Frumland. Then we have the ballerina again. Sophia asks, has a lot of people ended up like Jim? And Sarah explains that it's been happening a lot more lately. And I find it interesting that Sophia goes to this ballerina, reminding the fans of the season 2 cicada sleep. When we see Tabitha, she goes to the church to see Jim, and she asks why didn't he come home. It says that she loved him since the first time they met, and even though it was a lot of pain and fighting, he was her person. And yes, I do feel bad for Tabitha. Arriving in this horrific place and losing the one that you truly love while finding out that you just keep coming back to this place to help save kids that's not here. I do feel bad for Tabitha because she has been through a lot while in Frumland. Donna is shocked to see Acosta driving like a mad woman. Boyd even tries to step in front of the ambulance, and Acosta wasn't going to stop. Acosta thinks she can escape this place, but we all know that's not happening today. While driving, she says no one knows what the fuck they are doing, and Boyd tells Kenny to grab the spice, because it looks like Acosta is going to get a little dangerous. When we see Henry and Victor, Victor tells Henry you shouldn't have come to this place, because things are getting worse. Victor says it takes everything good away. And what if Henry gets taken away? Victor says you shouldn't be here, but Henry rebuttals and says none of them should be here. And I love the father and son connection throughout this whole episode. We see it a lot. We saw it with Boyd and Ellis. We saw it with Jim and Ethan. Now we're seeing it with Victor and Henry. Julie goes to see Randall not only to tell him what has happened to Jim, but to ask for assistance in her story walking journey. Once they get to the threshold, she tells Randall to walk through, but he doesn't story walk. And I find that interesting because I knew that Randall wouldn't be able to story walk like Julie, but obviously Julie can. What's going on, guys? Once again, we are doing a From giveaway, so make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe because we are giving away free stuff. The winner will be chose on May 2nd, and we're choosing from likes, comments, and subscribers. So let's get it. And this is when the episode gets even better. When she is able to story walk, we shift to Randall and Adonna's situation at the end of season 2. This is why the monsters didn't move. And my theory is they can sense story walkers and they want them out. The nurse monster says she wants to play while covering Julie's mouth and shouts out to Randall for having the instincts to put her out when he did. Acosta is driving wildly still and even passes Ethan. Acosta told Christy that her mom believed in hell, but Acosta thinks hell is for people who think they should suffer and thinks she's a good person. She doesn't think she deserves to be here. Christy tells her no one deserves to be here, and every time they try to get out, someone ends up dead. Acosta rides past Ethan and doesn't even stop, hitting the spikes that Boyd and Kenny laid down for her. Boyd has had enough of Acosta's shenanigans, but Christy stops Boyd from going overboard because she knows what can happen. Ethan arrives to get the radio so he can tell Thomas to be with his dad so they won't be alone. But when Ethan steps out, we see Jim. But the way Jim is looking is almost looks like if he's anxious and was in deep thought. Not like the visions like we see with Boyd and Father Khatri. This felt different. I mean, Jim is looking around almost as if he shouldn't be there. Jim asks Ethan, does he remember what he said the last time they were in the RV? Jim needs Ethan to be brave for his sister and his mom. Ethan can sense something is happening, so he asks Jim would he be able to stay, but Jim says he can't. Jim says to his son that he needs to do something important. Jim asks Ethan, does he remember the dream? Ethan says the Lake of Tears. Jim tells him he needs to find it and that it's here. Tabitha calls to Ethan, and this is where Jim disappears. We all know that Ethan doesn't hate his mom, but he just misses his dad. This episode was one of the best episodes I've seen and connected to it so much. I was Ethan. I was the little boy missing his dad and hated everyone. When Ethan asked him if he was staying, man, shit, I was in tears. Because the saying goes, every boy wants to be like his father. And I think that's what makes this show so great. Even though supernatural things can happen, you can still connect to it in a way that you never thought. Boyd isn't the same Boyd we know from season 1. With more evil lurking around, it's going to be hard to wrap your head around everything. And trying to keep information away from people is a hard thing to do when you're a leader. That's it for this video, y'all, and thank y'all for staying tuned. Make sure y'all hit the like, comment, and subscribe. Especially comment because I want to know how y'all felt about this episode too. Peace.